What's up, everybody? Welcome back. So, hope you're all having a lot of fun trying out Bewear in PvP. I mean, if you thought this thing was pretty good in the Great League, it's probably even better in Ultra League. I'm pretty sure some of you might have tried it out already. This thing is kind of anti-meta in the Ultra League in some ways. I mean, obviously, it's a really solid Giratina counter, which is probably one of the most common Pokemon, obviously, in Ultra League for a long time. It does pretty well against Cresselia as well, especially now with Payback, and yeah, it can handle some of the other Ghost types as well, right? So for this particular team comp, I'm going to be running it alongside Walrein and Cresselia, which is a pretty solid core, and overall this team worked really well for me. I mean, I got a couple of 5-0 sets and a couple of 4-1 sets, so I put together some of these best battles together, and there were some really exciting ones in there, so let's just get straight into it. For the first battle here, I'm going to be actually leading with Walrein, and then I'm going to be having Cresselia and Bewear in the back. So we have Walrein into a Scizor. Not a great matchup this, because obviously ice moves are resisted by Scizor, right? And also they're running Bullet Punch, which is doing quite a bit of neutral damage to Walrein because of the ice water typing. I'm going to let the first one through here just in case they get the boost, and they do get the boost, unfortunately. So at this point, I'm going to actually build up a lot of energy and then bait with Icicle Spear. I do let the Night Slash go through. I'm going to bait with Icicle Spear, and hopefully I can get off an Earthquake on the Scizor. They do give up the shield. I'm going to try and go for the Earthquake, but I know I'm not going to be able to get it. So I'm just going to go for another Icicle Spear again. They probably think it's an Earthquake and they give up 2 shields. This is best case scenario. It's still not a great position to be in because Scizor had the boost, but they make a switch now into their Cresselia. It's a Confusion Cresselia, but they have no more shields, so I can just go straight Payback right now. I'm going to do massive, super effective damage, and then now I can just switch into my Cresselia, right? Again, this is where really having Cresselia in the back is going to help, because Bewear is kind of glassy, so Cresselia, especially because of how tanky it is, you can basically soak up a lot of charge moves, right? So I'm going to go for the Moonblast against this Cresselia here, and then at this point I can just completely farm down. We're going to probably have to soak up another Moonblast or something, but it ends up being an Aurora Beam. It's actually an interesting moveset. They're running Confusion along with Aurora Beam, and they have a Giratina in the back, and this is GG's at this point because I can just go Moonblast here, and I have a lot of loaded energy, so I'm just going to be able to go for another Moonblast. I can just let this go through. Even if it's a Shadow Sneak, it's not going to KO. I'm going to be able to go for another Moonblast, and at this point, I can just switch into my Bewear and farm down the Giratina, right? Again, Shadow Claw doing super effective damage. We still have 2 shields. I'm going to shield this up because obviously Dragon Claw is going to do neutral damage. I'm going to farm this thing down, and then they come back with Scizor. I'm just going to go straight Payback right now. I'm going to shield this up, even though Night Slash is resisted because of the fighting typing. We are getting pretty low here, and I'm hoping they don't switch out and we're able to get to a Payback. This is absolutely going to one-shot the Scizor, at least from this range, right? Does about 50% of Scizor's health there, and then one Shadow Claw is going to take out the Cresselia there. So, as you can see, Bewear really putting in work. I mean, I feel like obviously Payback is much better than Stomp in the Ultra League simply because of the number of Ghost and Psychic types that are, right? Again, we're met with an Obstagoon lead. Obstagoon is probably the hardest Pokemon to deal with for this team comp. It can be dealt with. I mean, the thing is, when you switch into Cresselia, most people tend to stay a little bit longer, but I mean, they actually played that really well. They threw the Night Slash and then switched into their Cresselia so they can guarantee winning this matchup and basically winning switch advantage. But luckily, we get the attack debuff on the Moonblast, right? Charge Move is going to come through. It's another Moonblast here. I'm going to have to spam as many Moonblasts as possible in this mirror matchup here. I'm going to go for another one right now. And then, that's the thing with Ultra League, right? I mean, the battles sometimes, they go on forever. Like, I'm pretty sure most of you, you guys would have had some timeouts as well. Like, most of these Ultra League battles go up to like 5 minutes, right? Almost. So anyways, I switch into my Bewear here. I'm going to shield up this Moonblast because it is super effective, even though it's debuffed. Obviously, I don't want to tank a Moonblast here. And this part, I'm going to overfarm a little bit and go for the Drain Punch. This is not going to do that much damage. I'm hoping to get a shield, but yeah, I mean, they don't give up a shield, but it's fine. At this point, I just wanted to buff up the defense, and I'm going to shield this up again, and I'm going to completely farm it down, right? Yeah, just going to completely farm it down. We have a lot of loaded energy right now. And then even though we're down 2 shields, it's a pretty decent position to be in. Obstagoon comes back in. I'm just going to go for the Drain Punch here. Obviously doing double super effective damage because of the dark normal typing on Obstagoon. And each time we get the Drain Punch off, our defense is just getting buffed up, right? Which means that those counters, even though they're super effective, is really not doing that much damage. At this point, I've gotten off like 4 Drain Punches. And even if they go for Cross Chop, it's not going to do that much, right? You can just see Cross Chop hardly does anything there. And that's the thing with Bewear, is that when you can constantly buff up its defense, even though Drain Punch is not a good move at all compared to Superpower, just that defense buff is really useful. But they make a really nice switch into their Trevenant to catch the Drain Punch. So at this point, I'm going to catch the Seed Bomb on my Cresselia here. Because I want to preserve some health and energy on Bewear, right? And I'm just going to go for the Moonblast against this Trevenant here. We're going to do quite a bit of neutral damage, and also we get the attack debuff as well. But they have farmed up on quite a bit of energy, so they have a lot of loaded energy right now. So I'm going to actually come up with Walrein so that I can soak it up, because we still have a lot of energy on the Bewear, right? So I'm going to soak up the Seed Bomb here. I'm hoping that I can farm it down before they can get to another Seed Bomb. Unfortunately, not able to do it. We're going to have to soak up another Seed Bomb. This is not going to KO, but hopefully I can completely farm it down, right? They come in with Obstagoon here, and I'm just going to go for the Icicle Spear. Unfortunately, this timer is running out, so immediately switching into my Bewear, but they get off another move. And this is not looking good because I need to get off this get off the Drain Punch here. But unfortunately, again, the timer runs out. This is one of those very few matches that I lost. In fact, like the 3 or 4 battles that I lost, the 3-4 sets that I did, most of them were because of like the timer running out. I probably might have lost that anyways, but that was a very, very close battle there. So we met with a Trevenant on the lead. Pretty decent matchup this, obviously, because we're doing super effective damage. They make a switch into their Walrein. They were trying to catch the Icicle Spear, but it's a good thing we switched into the Cresselia, which has a pretty solid matchup against Walrein, because Grass Knot is obviously doing super effective damage. And I don't have to shield any of this. I mean, nothing's going to do that much damage. Earthquake hardly does anything, especially considering the fact that it doesn't really have stab. They're probably better off going for Icicle Spear here, but yeah, I'm just going to overfarm as much as I can. Probably build up to 2 Grass Knots here. They are spamming quite a few Icicle Spears, so I'm just going to let this through as well. And then I'm just going to build up a lot of extra energy. And then I'm just going to go for the Grass Knot here, right? And it gets the shield. So at this point, I can just go for another one. They're going to have to give up 2 shields if they want to win Switch right now. And they let that go through, which is fantastic. Because now at this, I can just line up my Bewear against their Trevenant, right? Which is best case scenario. Bewear is a pretty solid matchup against Trevenant. They come in with their Electivire. I'm just going to go straight payback right now. A lot of people expect Drain Punch, especially when they have shields. So I'm just going to go payback here, and it just one-shots the Electivire. Electivire is extremely glassy, and they come back with Trevenant and give up the match there. So Trevenant really doesn't have too much play against Bewear. I mean, you can spam Seed Bombs, but again, Bewear definitely has the upper hand there. So we have Jellicent in the lead. Not a great matchup once again for Walrein this. So at this point, I really can't switch out because Cresselia doesn't have a great matchup as well. Obviously, Bewear is a pretty solid counter to Jellicent. I actually switch anyways into Cresselia because I can get off a Grass Knot, which is going to be super effective against Jellicent. They shield that, which is okay, and now they make a switch into their Registeel. Right now, this is not a good matchup at all. I mean, Cresselia just gets completely walled by Registeel. Obviously, now with a Zap Cannon as well, it becomes even harder because they can get the attack debuff, right? So I'm just going to let it go through. It's going to be a Zap Cannon there. It doesn't do that much damage, but unfortunately gets the attack debuff. So I'm not going to throw at this point. There's no point throwing a move on Registeel. So I'm just going to preserve the energy and soak up the Zap Cannon, then switch into my Walrein and go straight Earthquake. I'm hoping they think it's an Icicle Spear and let this through because I really want to get rid of this Registeel. Again, Steel types like Registeel and Melmetal are also a bit of a problem for this, a bit of an issue for this team comp, right? They come back with Jellicent here. I'm hoping this is a Bubble Beam. Unfortunately, ends up being a Shadow Ball. So I'm not going to be able to get to an Earthquake here. I'm going to go for the Icicle Spear just to do as much damage as possible. And then I can just come in with Bewear right now, right? And probably completely farm down here. I'm just going to come in with Bewear, trying to, you can just see, this is just such a solid matchup for Bewear. Going to let this through here, and I don't know why they went for Shadow Ball. That is double resisted, so it's interesting that they decided to go for Shadow Ball there. And I'm just going to let this go through as well. They're probably running Bubble Beam and Shadow Ball. They are running Ice Beam, so it's interesting they went for Shadow Ball the last time around. And they come in with Meganium, immediately switching into my Cresselia here. I want to come in with Cresselia right now because Cresselia definitely has no play against Registeel, so I might as well, you know, use up all this energy against Meganium, right? Going to go for the Moonblast once again here. Again, Meganium is extremely tanky in the Ultra League. It's obviously, I think it's an XL Meganium, but anyways, going to immediately come in with Bewear and go for the payback. The reason I go for payback is I don't want them to get off a Frenzy Plant, and it's up to Bewear to close this out, right? They come back with Registeel. I'm going to go for the Drain Punch. This is where I think I make a bit of a mistake. I should have gone payback right away here because I needed to get off the payback damage before getting debuffed, right? Because they're going to go for the Zap Cannon right now, and the next payback is not going to do that much damage. So that was definitely a misplay on my part. I'm going to go for a payback here. Again, this is, like I said, not going to do that much damage. Does the okay amount of damage actually at this point. We are getting pretty low right now. Going to shield this up. It is a Focus Blast luckily, so there's no debuff this time. They come in with Jellicent. I'm going to have to go for payback here, right? Because Drain Punch is hardly going to do anything. Payback, it is a bit of an overkill, but I'm going to have to go for it. Registeel comes back in, and the timer runs out. And I mean, I was actually surprised that I couldn't win this. I think the health was pretty, like, we're probably very equal on health there. I thought, like, you know, Bewear had a little bit more HP than Registeel, but yeah, a little bit unfortunate there. Anyways, moving on to the next battle here, we have a Walrein into a Togekiss, a pretty solid lead. I mean, this is as good as it gets. You definitely want to catch Togekiss in the lead because Bewear has such a poor matchup against it, right? Gonna go for the Icicle Spear here. Gonna go for another Icicle Spear right now. Let's see if they want to give up both shields. They let this go through this time and I can just farm it down. Hopefully I can farm it down before they can get to a move, and I'm barely able to do it. They're probably like one charm away from an Ancient Power or something. But anyways, they come in with their Typhlosion. I'm just gonna go straight Earthquake right now because there's no point baiting at this stage. And they shield that, which is okay. We are up by 2 shields. The reason I decided to switch out is because you don't want to give Typhlosion a lot of farm, right? Because if Typhlosion gets ahead on energy, it's going to be very difficult to deal with. Gonna switch in my Cresselia. Cresselia doesn't have a great matchup against Typhlosion, but simply because of its tankiness, it's definitely going to be able to stand in and probably hang in there, right? Anyways, I'm going to soak up another Blast Bird here and trying to go for another Moonblast. Even though it's resisted, it should come close to knocking out the Typhlosion from this range. And they're going to probably have to go for a move here, but they decide to farm down, which is okay. I'm just going to come in with my Walrein, and I'm going to be able to Icicle Spear down, and they have a Venusaur on the back, and this is GG. So I'm also able to get to an Icicle Spear, which is best case scenario right now. It does super effective damage, and I can just come in with Bewear and go straight payback right now, right? Gonna shield this up. Don't really have to. We can tank a Frenzy Plant, but I don't want to risk it because I can just go payback, and then that's gonna be a GG here. Obviously, you can't go for Drain Punch in this matchup because that's resisted. That's definitely not gonna do enough to Venusaur, but yeah. That's the thing with when you're running Drain Punch and Payback, it's almost like there's no intermediate move. Like, you know, Drain Punch hardly does any damage, in which case, even if like there's very minimum HP on the opposite Pokemon, you're gonna have to go for Payback, which is a little bit of a waste of energy, in which case I think this is one of those scenarios where Superpower would definitely help, but I prefer the the defense buff, right? Whereas Superpower is the exact opposite there. So I let the Acid Spray go through against this Alolan Muck. And I'm just going to bait with Icicle Spear because Earthquake is going to one-shot. They probably want to have to shield this. They do shield that, which is amazing. And they come in with Venusaur. This is really, really good because we are so ahead in energy right now. I can just spam Icicle Spears, right? Doing super effective damage against Venusaur. Going to be able to get off another one here. Hopefully I can get off another one before they can get to a Frenzy Plant. And they get to a Frenzy Plant. I'm going to shield this up because I can get to another one and basically knock out this Venusaur here. And then I'm just going to go for this one, doing super effective damage and taking out the Venusaur. This is really, really good because, again, Walrein is absolutely going to town here. They come back with Alolan Muck, and this is okay. I'm just going to come in with Bewear right now. Because they're running Acid Spray, they're probably running Acid Spray and Dark Pulse, in which case, Bewear has a pretty solid matchup, right? Dark Pulse is resisted as well. Acid Spray doesn't do that much damage. It lowered our defense, but I can just buff it back up with Drain Punch here. They make a switch to their Sylveon immediately going into my Cresselia, and this is GG's at this point because I can just go for Moonblasts, and Bewear is going to be able to close it out against the Alolan Muck, right? Gonna go for the Moonblast here, and then yeah, Charge Move is gonna come through. I'm gonna shield this up because I don't want to soak up a Moonblast here, but it is a draining case. That still would have done an okay amount of damage. And then yeah, I'm just gonna build up to 2 Grass Knots and go for the first one here, hoping that I can farm it down after getting off this Grass Knot, right? Yeah, I'm just gonna try and farm this thing down. They make a switch into their Alolan Muck. This is perfect. I can go for the Moonblast right now, doing a lot of neutral damage because of the poison. Dark typing, and then switching to my Bewear here, and they decide to give up the match there. So yeah, I mean, Alolan Muck can be a little bit of an issue, especially towards endgame. I mean, Walrein has a pretty decent matchup against it, but you definitely don't want Cresselia to go up against it, right? But anyways, we have a Walrein mirror here. This comes down to who can win CMP, right? Because we're both probably going to be going straight for Earthquake. Don't want to go for Icicle Spear because that's double resisted. Going to the Earthquake here does about 40% of Walrein's health. We managed to sneak a Powder Snow through, which is really good. And then they go for an Icicle Spear. Surprisingly, they go for Icicle Spear. That just hardly does anything. This is probably just another Icicle Spear as well. Which is, I mean, not sure why they're probably trying to bait there. But anyways, I'm just going to go for another Earthquake. This is going to force the shield from Walrein because they're going to lose Switch. They give up the shield, which is fantastic. And even if this is an Earthquake, I don't have to shield this because it's not going to KO from this range. They go for Earthquake this time, and I can just go straight Earthquake right now, right? Because even if they go for Icicle Spear, that's not going to KO. So I can go Earthquake right now, and then that's going to take it out, and we want both Switch and Shield advantage. And they come in with Crobat. I'm going to go for the Icicle Spear here. Now, this is not a great situation to be in because both Cresselia and Bewear in particular don't have great matchups against Crobat. I'm just going to come in with Cresselia because obviously Cresselia can tank moves better than Bewear can. So Shadow Ball is going to come through, going to do super effective damage. Going to go for Moonblast here, even though it's resisted. I just want to get off as much damage as possible, right? Obviously Psycho Cut is doing super effective damage. And then I'm hoping that I can get off another Moonblast here. Charge move is going to come through. I'm just going to risk it. I'm hoping this is just a Poison Fang here. It is just a Poison Fang, which is fantastic. I'm going to be able to get off another Moonblast. And this is going to take out the Crobat from this range. And they have a Swampert in the back, and this is GG's. You definitely love to see Swamperts in the back, especially when you have Cresselia. I'm going to shield this up because I want to land a Grass Knot here. This is near, they're going to near one-shot the Swampert. I mean, obviously, not going to fully one-shot it simply because of the fact that Cresselia doesn't have Stab and also doesn't have a great attack stat. But I can just come in with Bewear here and go for the Drain Punch. That's going to take it out there. So Bewear didn't have too much to do in this battle, the last couple of battles, but it's definitely going to have a lot more role to play in the coming battles, right? Moving on to the next battle here, we have Walrein into an Abomasnow. Not a great matchup once again here. I mean, obviously, you do have to watch out for Energy Ball. So I'm going to actually catch the Energy Ball on Cresselia. Really doesn't do that much damage. But now they make a switch into their Togekiss. Now this is really, really good because we baited out the Charmer. And in which case, I mean, this is really good for Bewear, right? Because this gives Bewear a pretty clear path to sweep endgame. Nothing really is going to KO from this range, so I'm going to let it go through. It is just an ancient power, and I can just go for the Moonblast right now. And this is definitely going to put this Togekiss into Icicle Spear range. So I'm going to try and get off a Grass Knot, unfortunately not able to do it. So I'm going to come in with my Walrein here and overfarm quite a bit, and then go for the Icicle Spear right now, which is going to take out the Togekiss from this range. And then they come back with the Abomasnow, so I'm going to build up 2 Icicle Spears and go for the first one here. And let's see what they decide to do here. They give up the shield, so at this point I'm just actually going to switch into my Bewear to catch the Energy Ball, and they have a Giratina in the back, and this is GG's right now. I was hoping that they wouldn't surrender because I wanted to land the payback to see how much it does to Giratina, but again, especially against Shadow Claw Giratina, Bewear has such an amazing matchup, right? But anyways, moving on to the next battle here. You definitely you love to see Giratina, especially with this team comp. This team is like pretty anti-Giratina, right? So we have a Swampert in the lead. This is a really, really solid matchup. I mean, Swampert as well. This team is like anti-Giratina and anti-Swampert kind of, because, I mean, 2 of these 3 Pokemon have pretty solid matchups against Swampert, right? Charge is going to come through, just another Hydro Cannon. They're going straight Hydro Cannon in this matchup. Even if they go for Earthquake, Walrein still wins this matchup in the 0 shield. Basically in all even shielding scenarios. So I'm going to go for the Icicle Spear here, and then I'm going to build up a lot of extra energy again. I'm going to let this through as well. This is just another Hydro Cannon. I can go for the Icicle Spear and farm this thing down, right? I can just go Icicle Spear right now, and then I should be able to farm down with Powder Snow. But they make a switch into their Clefable. I'm just going to go for another Icicle Spear, and then immediately switching into my Cresselia here. It's a good thing once again that they're basically brought out their Charmer, because again, Bewear has such a poor matchup against all the Charmers. So Charge move is going to come through. I'm definitely going to shield this up, right? Because I need to preserve the Cresselia. I don't want, you know, the Clefable to go up against my Bewear. I'm going to go for the Grass Knot here. They don't shield that, which is okay. So I'm going to build up a little bit of extra energy and then go for another Grass Knot right now. And yeah, it's a great thing they let that go through. I really want to get rid of this Clefable as soon as possible, and they're not able to get off a move as well, which is fantastic. And they have a Giratina in the back, and this is GG's right now. It doesn't matter how many shields they have or how many shields we have, because Bewear is definitely going to be able to close it out, especially against a Shadow Claw Giratina, right? Gonna let this go through. Dragon Claw still doesn't KO, but it's okay because I can just come in with Walrein and completely wall it, right? And they come in with Swampert. I'm gonna be able to farm it down, and then yeah, they still have 2 shields. It doesn't really matter. And I actually should have shielded the first Dragon Claw, because once I get these Drain Punches off, Dragon Claw is hardly going to do anything. I'm just going to bait Drain Punch, doesn't get the shield, but it's okay because at this point I can just completely farm down. I'm just going to go for another Drain Punch, hoping they shield at least this time. They don't shield that as well, and yeah, I'm just going to completely farm it down. There's no point throwing any more moves because they still have 2 shields. Going to shield this Dragon Claw here and completely Shadow Claw down right here. We still have Walrein, which I can use as a 3rd shield, but I don't want to do that because I don't want to clear up the defense buff. So I'm just going to Shadow Claw down there. So like I said, I mean, you would love to see Giratina in the back. Giratina being obviously one of the most common Pokemon. Although I feel like over the last year or so, it's been, I'm pretty sure most of you would agree as well, Giratina is getting really, really difficult to use, right? Because most team comps have like at least 2 anti-Giratina, like pretty solid Giratina counters, right? So it's getting like more and more difficult to use these days, but it's still pretty solid as it's always been. They had a Scizor in the lead. They switch into their Walrein. I'm going to switch into my Cresselia here. This is really good because they didn't necessarily have to switch out of that opening matchup, because at this point I won. I'm going to win switch advantage, right? Because this is a pretty solid matchup for Cresselia. I'm going to soak up the Icicle Spear here, and I'm going to go for the Grass Knot after overfarming a little bit here. Gonna soak up another Icicle Spear. Actually, this time it's an Earthquake, which is okay because I can overfarm just a little bit and then go for the Grass Knot here. And then that's gonna take out the Walrein from this range. And then they come back with Scizor, which is okay. I'm just gonna go for the Moonblast, try and do as much damage as possible. They're probably not gonna be able to farm down from this range. They're gonna have to throw one of the moves here, which is pretty good, right? Because I can probably just come in with my Bewear right now. They're running Fury Cutter, which is really good for Bewear because it's resisted. Even though they got the attack buff with Night Slash, that's okay too because I'm hoping this is just going to be a Night Slash which is resisted because of the fighting typing. And even though it's buffed, it doesn't really do that much damage, right? And I'm going to shield this up this time because we are getting a little bit low. I want to preserve the health on Bewear and I'm going to try and farm it down as much as possible. Actually, I decided to throw because they're probably going to get to another Night Slash, so I don't want to risk it. Going to go for the Drain Punch here. They have a Swampert in the back, and I'm just going to go for the payback here, right? They're probably going to think this is just going to be a Drain Punch shield bait, but I'm going to go for the payback. Does so much damage against Swampert. I'm going to let this through, and this is GG's at this point because we have a lot of loaded energy on Walrein, right? I'm just going to go for the Icicle Spear here. We have, like I said, we have so much energy right now, right? And then I'm going to go for another one right now, and even if they shield this, I'm easily going to be able to get to another one because we still have a shield there, but which is why they decided to give up the match. And yeah, another pretty solid win. So like I said, I mean, this team overall, it worked really well. I think I did like I said, out of 20 battles that I did, I won like 17 battles. I had like a couple 5-0 sets, a 4-1 and a 3-2 set. This was like one of those 5-0 sets that I had. And yeah, it's definitely a team comp that I would recommend trying out if you want to use Bewear. Right? You can also run it with Superpower, but I just feel like Drain Punch also has a lot of play there. So anyways, thank you so much for watching and I'll see you next time.